Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, talking about the September 28th, 2019 supermoon in Libra. Now, as far as the basic meaning of a supermoon, of course, supermoon is going to be in closer proximity to the Earth than just a regular new moon. It could have a much more powerful impact on us than a regular new moon. Greater, I would say, even greater vitality, as the new moon can give us, like, we might feel like this near inexorable energy, especially if you have it in a sign like Leo. But it could, you have a new moon in astrology, it's about very extemporaneous, spontaneous energy. It's a time where when we often will discard what had been prohibiting us, holding us back, that was superfluous or frivolous. But given that it is a supermoon, it could have been something that was holding us back, perhaps for even a protracted period. And new moons, I mean, when you're talking about a supermoon in astrology, it could be a new beginning, very monumental importance. It might not be like real super life altering, like say like a lunar eclipse, but it could be something that could have a powerful impact on us for some time. This is something too. Now, looking at this supermoon in Libra, now this could impact all collectively, especially those that have the Sun, Moon, ascendant in Libra Libra or Cancer. Libra because it's in their own sign, and Cancer because, well, simply because Cancer can be sensitive to all transits and phases of the moon, given that the moon does govern the zodiac sign Cancer, and especially if this is making a conjunction to someone's sun, moon, or ascendant in Libra or Cancer. It could be very intensified, this energy. Now, the thing about this too is that given that this is in Libra, it could be the start of a new relationship. It could be something where you're having a new period of intellectual sociability, a start where one may be ingratiating themselves with others. It could be a reconciliation that begins, or a compromise. It could be a legal settlement. The process may be starting at this point, and also arbitration cases may begin. There may be a greater proliferation of the start of arbitration cases, negotiations, given that we're talking about the supermoon in astrology. It could also be now the beginning of a start of a Libra profession in some cases, especially if this is hitting the 2nd, the 6th, or the 10th house in one's natal chart, as those could be the houses that are connected with jobs and careers. Now, it could be the start for some may begin a graphics, art design position, sculpt, something connected with artistry such as sculpting, drawing, painting. It could be something with the law, such as beginning work as a bailiff, a judge, attorney, a paralegal, something with arbitration. It could be human resources, because people in human resources, of course, that position, people can often be able to disperse schedules very evenly, so there's no unfairness as far as the employees go, as far as somebody getting a more favorable schedule than others. It could also be a star too, or even a position like a diplomat, anything that could be Libra related. It could even be the start of some Libra type enjoyment, such as tennis or gymnastics, because of course those sports are about balancing, or playing Jenga. I mean, that could happen, especially like say if you have this in the 5th house of sports. Even the 9th house, I would say, could be connected with sports, because the 9th house does correspond with the zodiac sign Sagittarius. Now, if it happens, like say, I mean, it could again be a beginning of a relationship, which could be very monumental. It could be a turning point in many's lives at this time, especially if it falls in like a relationship house. Say if you have it like in a 5th house, like as far as lovers may go. 5th house, of course, is love and romance. 7th is relationships, and could even be the beginning of something that leads to marriage if you have this in the 7th house. But in the 8th house could be the beginning of a deep connection, a deep relationship, which is very far from being superficial. So the thing about this too I mean, it's important again, I mean, to look at the house this falls in one's natal chart, as this, of course, could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, mine is going to fall in the sixth house. Now, this could manifest in a multitude of ways for me. This could be the beginning of a new astrological position, perhaps, since it's hitting my Uranus and very close to my sixth house cusp in my natal chart. I hope it's not the beginning of a new unanticipated or spontaneous lower back or kidney issue. But I mean, again, this could manifest in a multitude of ways for me. It could be a position where maybe I start doing some other astrological work or employment, but being in Libra, it could be where I have to ingratiate myself with others more in the daily routine, given that we are talking about the sixth house. But the thing about this too is, again, I mean, if this falls, say, in the fifth house, it could be something, some kind of Libra enjoyment that one may embark on. It could be something, as I stated before, like gymnastics or tennis, or even skating. Hey, maybe even doing something with a tightrope, because that could be, I mean, you're doing some balancing when you're on a tightrope. Of course, I recommend having netting under it if that's what you do. But another thing, too, is it's also important to look at the aspects it makes to points in one's chart, as of course this could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, as I said before, mine is going to conjunct my natal Uranus, and it could be something, could it be a computer art job I may embark on, or it could be something that could be maybe spontaneous or unanticipated balanced diet. And I do believe too, I mean, given by itself, going back to just the fact it's going to fall in my sixth house and not looking at the aspects momentarily, again, this could be maybe some relationship in my daily routine that might begin at this time, or a new period for me when I just where I'm about ingratiating myself with others more in the daily routine, or even starting maybe a balanced diet in some cases. I mean, of course, it could manifest in a multitude of ways for me. And the thing about it is, it could even be some Libra form of employment. I can't really do too many things. So I'm thinking what makes this really significant for me and how it might really how it could manifest is with that conjunction it's going to make to my natal Uranus. It could be something astrological related. So anyway, now it's also important to look at the electional aspects it makes, because at this time that could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now it's going to make a fairly tight opposition to Chiron in Aries at this time. So there's going to be a little adversarial opposing energy. Now, many of you may know the Chiron in Aries transit could be about really about feelings where you don't feel feelings of unworthiness, or not feeling like maybe being deserving of things, or it could even be connected with people dealing with wounds from a that might even be physical, something volatile. It could be from some physical abuse or contentious situation. And the thing about this particular supermoon in Libra, what makes it challenging, is that you could have a number of people that want to embark on a new relationship, given that this is in Libra. But the thing about this is you have the opposition to Chiron and Aries, and people may be festering over old wounds and suffering, or maybe having to deal with some suffering from some contentious situation or acrimonious relationship, where it might be very hard for this person to for people to move forward because of that. And the thing about this is, again, it could be where many people are trying to move forward with this abundance and surfeit of energy. Remember that the supermoon is like a regular new moon, but it can be amplified. And the thing about this is, given its closer proximity to Earth at the time, but the thing about it is, there might be a great yearning again for those new relationships for many, but many might have be at the same time be trying to get away from, given that this is an opposition, trying to go away from a situation that may have been contentious, or even a figurative headache, or a combative situation. given that the Chiron is in Aries and people may be nursing their old wounds, so to speak, as far as this goes. I believe Chiron is retrograde at this time, and if that is the case, then it could be people trying to self-heal from what I was describing before. So those are, and the problem is, again, that can make it difficult to try to move forward. Now, the thing is, you're also going to have the South Node. It's important to look at the other aspects that are taking place at this time, as they could be amplified, given that they're taking place at the time of the supermoon in Libra. You're also going to have the South Node making a conjunction to Saturn at this time, and this could be a sign when you have a South Node approaching Saturn and it's getting ready to leave it. South Node is getting ready to make. It's not far from making a transiting conjunction, separating conjunction aspect from Saturn. When you have that energy where it's that close to making that kind of aspect to Saturn, this could be a time where many people are trying to getting away from something authoritative, some kind of cold, being Saturn Capricorn, maybe a very cold, undemonstrative authority. It could be some dominant, it could be some male figure, or I should say it could be just a regular authority figure, or it could be the father in some cases. And this could be the time now when you have the supermoon in Libra, which could really emphasize beginnings of relationships for many. Many may be going away from somebody that might be somewhat cold or callous or overly authoritative, going away from that or starting a new relationship, or it could even be simply going away from an authority figure, such as somebody that you may be working under if you're in a subordinate position. And the new moon in Libra supermoon in Libra can signify the beginning of perhaps a Libra type job position. So I think this could be very auspicious for many, but that main problem is going to be that opposition that the supermoon is going to have to Chiron in Aries. Now, also, Sabian symbols, as far as that goes, this is going to be at 5 degrees Libra. Now, this could also be very auspicious for the start of maybe a business partnership, but through very industrious and laborious efforts. And given that this is supermoon are about beginnings, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It could be the start of as far as the start of a business partnership, as opposed to just business partnerships in general. It could be the beginning or embarking on one at this time, but again, one may have to really work laboriously in order to do this at this time. And especially, like, say, if you have this in the 7th or 8th house, because 7th house can be about partnerships, but the 8th house can be about shared resources, which I don't think would exclude a partnership scenario. So anyway, now, if you're having this, say, in the 1st or 6th house at this time, this could be something where it could be, a somewhat serious issue could come up that could be Libra health related, not something that might be closer to, life-threatening or life-altering if this was, say, say if this was a lunar or some kind of solar eclipse. But the supermoon, I see, being given the fact it's in such closer proximity to the Earth than a regular new moon, it's still can be at least a little bit more serious than a regular new moon. So it could be something with the lower back, for example, that might require some minor surgery, or if you have this in the 1st or 6th house, especially, because again, the 1st house could be connected with the physical body. The 6th house, of course, is our health. So something with the lower back, again, that might require some surgery, or might require some, extensive therapy or chiropractic work, or could be a kidney issue that may need to be taken care of much sooner than later, or even something like a hypoglycemia, something with diabetes, anything that could be Libra related. And also, too, when you have this happening, other transits that are hitting your chart may be intensified as well. Now, I'm going to have transit Jupiter making a conjunction to my 8th house cusp in my chart, and it's going to trine my natal Venus in magnanimous Leo. I mean, the fact that transit Jupiter is going to be close proximity to my 8th house alone could be very auspicious for something astrological or something with shared resources. So something, maybe some support coming from others, and then making the trine to Venus on top of it could be very beneficial. And I mean, again, this could be a time, very good auspicious period for me as far as something astrological goes, coupled with the supermoon hitting my natal Uranus in Libra, very close proximity to my 6th house cusp. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my take on the supermoon, on the September 28, 2019 supermoon in Libra. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.